employment. And well, actually, so,
What a topic.
you know, we're talking about, you know, and everything that's been going on in South Africa, and for a long time, people have been saying, you know, one of the biggest problems in South Africa is illegal immigrants. And so when you and I were chatting about it, we're going, okay, so what's the problem with illegal immigrants? And, you know, some people are claiming that the violence is because of illegal immigrants, and no opportunities is because of illegal immigrants. And so we can debate lots of those things. But for me, it's like, okay, so let's say there's 4 million illegal immigrants that have come into South Africa, and 4 million of those people have jobs. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, in theory, that means 4 million
Jobs.
citizens couldn't get jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But if those 4 million people went away, would that 4 million people who got offered those jobs take those jobs?
No.
Why not?
That's my opinion. Because it's not jobs they want to do. It's not jobs. It's. I feel like it's jobs that are beneath them, and I'm basing this.
Jobs that are beneath them, or the money's beneath them?
I think it's a combo. I actually think it's a combination of the two. I think one, the money's beneath them. Which is a big one.
Yeah.
And I think two, from their perception, it's a job that's beneath them. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't have a job. You don't have a job. You have no source of income.
Yeah.
But the job.
And the one thing I'm complaining about is why we don't have jobs.
Yes.
So I don't have a job, but I'm not prepared to do that.
Not that job.
No.
No.
And if I am going to do that, then you must pay me X.
Yeah. And I think right now we sit in a position where you're not going to get paid X for that job. So let's.
So you take a domestic worker.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. So and that's a lot of issues in South Africa. So what I call maybe not menial jobs, because I think being a domestic worker is a tough friggin' job.
Tough job.
Goodness me.
Tough
But so your domestic worker types of jobs, your
tea lady,
your tea lady, your gardener, your digging ditches dude, the tough jobs. And guess what? Those tough jobs, in many economies, are given to unskilled people.
Yep.
So now you have the scenario where Sully needs a mate.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Sully needs a gardener. I'm the gardener.
Yes.
Potential gardener. I come to Sully and I go, boss, I'd like a job.
Cool.
Great.
I'm going to pay you $300 a day.
Can't live on $300.
Okay, that's what I can pay you. Though.
I want $500 a day.
Nah, what I paid my last gardener was $300.
Okay, so now I don't take the job because you won't pay me $500. Okay, now somebody else comes in.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody else comes in, and they go, okay, I'd rather have 300 than have nothing.
Yeah.
Great. So that's supply and demand.
Done.
Okay, it's the transactional exchange. Transactional exchange.
Yeah.
Because I transact with you, I get my $300, I do my job. And the agreement is I'll do A, B, and C gardening and you'll get $300. Great. Transactional exchange.
Yeah.
Now, do I have the freedom if I find someone to pay me $500 to leave?
Yes.
100%.
You should.
I got it. Great. That's supply and demand. It's like any interaction.
Yeah.
So so you gave me a wonderful example. If you go into the shop,
Yeah.
and you want a Coke,
Yeah.
and the Coke costs
$20.
$20, and you don't have $20, you only have $10.
You can't get a Coke.
You can't buy the Coke.
No.
Okay, but the nature of the culture that we're creating, I think, in this country,
Yeah.
is I want the Coke, so you must give me the Coke because I want it, and to the degree that, in fact, if you don't give it to me for $10, I'll just take it anyway.
I'm going to take the Coke.
And then I'll justify why I deserve it, because it's unfair that I didn't have $20.
Yeah.
So because of you, Sully, I don't have $20.
So I can't
but
take
I want the Coke, so I'll take it.
How do we go about sort of changing that sort of thinking, that sort of behavior?
Well, but I just look at it like this. I think we've got to go back to principles. You know, the principle of exchange, fair and equitable exchange, balance.
Yeah.
And that comes to agreement. You know, it is, if I agree that I'm going to do something for you and you agree you're going to give me something in return, and we're both honest about the agreement in the moment, and I deliver and you deliver, we're in balance.
Yeah.
We're in exchange. We're in exchange. It's fair. In that moment, we agreed it was fair.
Yeah.
If I find out at a later stage that I could get more from somebody else, or I could get a better deal, well then I may feel out of exchange because I'm like, I have this deal with you, but I can get a better one over there. Okay? Now I come back to you and say, Suli, I can get a better deal over there. Would you be prepared? And you go, but I don't think it's fair because one, I can't afford it, or I don't think it's worth that amount.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how do I get an exchange? I say, thank you so much. Cancel the agreement and I go over there. But guess what happens? I'm not going to stay and complain like hell that my boss won't pay me more. So guess what? I'm not going to do the job anymore. And now we get even more out of exchange.
Yeah.
And now what happens is my boss, you, get so upset with me that actually the business gets worse and worse and I end up getting retrenched.
Yeah.
Whereas if I actually went, you know what, I'm going to stay in exchange, I'm going to deliver so we can get more, and we start doing well, you will come to me and say, you know what, bud, I know you could have got 500 over there and I'm paying you 300. Well, we're making a little bit more. I'm going to pay you 400 now. And that's how our value grows. But people don't want that. They want what they want to have. So I want to come work for you, Sully. I want my 10,000 a month. You must pay me 10,000 and then I'll decide if I'm going to do the work.
Yeah, because it looks like it's, I mean, it looks like it's, would you say that it looks like it's nice to have? Right?
Well, I want to have a job.
Yeah,
I want to have a job versus I want to do the job.
Yeah, nobody wants to do a job.
Well, no, I do.
No, I'm saying not you.
You do.
Nobody wants.
We rock up every day to do the job.
Oh yeah.
Because I know if I do the job, I will have
what I want,
the result.
Yeah.
Whereas people don't want that; they want to have the result. You know that flip chart that we teach: be, do, have. You know, the little stick man to the big stick man. Be, do, have. And I look at it like this: people say, when I have money, then I will be able to buy nice things. Then I will be rich. Okay, that's the thinking. When I have the job, then I can do what I want. When I have the promotion, then I will do what the promoted person does, then I will be the promoted person. So there's this idea of give me first. Give me and then I will do. Okay, well, that's not how it works. Let me put it in this context. I'm going to the Olympic Games in 2028. When I have the gold medal and I've been to the Olympic Games, then I will start training. When I start training, I will start dreaming about being an Olympian. Well, it's absolutely ludicrous. If I say that to anyone, they go, that's nonsensical thinking. But that's how people think when it comes to business, when it comes to work. Give me a business, and then I have a business.
But why?
Now that I have a business, I can do what a business owner does, and then I can be a business owner. No, a business owner becomes a business owner before they have a real business, because that's called growth. It's about building a business. It's about creating money. Creation is a growth process. It's not a having process. And we live in this world of instant gratification. I must have what I want to have because I want to have it. And you must give it to me because you have what I perceive as more than I have.
No, I mean, it's interesting that you bring up the Olympics and you bring up sports, where I feel like that's kind of the only place where people truly understand it. Right? Because, like, so for example, you say that you know that if you want to have an Olympic gold medal, the do is you have to do a lot.
100%.
Whatever sports or area
you can't rock up and say, you know, because I grew up in Gauteng and you grew up in KZN, well, you get an extra 3 seconds off because because you're slower than me in 100 meters.
No, there's no handouts in sport. Nobody. You don't just get given stuff.
No.
Right? But when it comes to business,
sorry, in sport, when you see people do get given stuff, they get found wanting.
Yeah,
because you can never fake it in sport.
No.
So you can't fake, but in the world you fake it. So you can never fake it in sport. You get selected in a team. If you get selected in a team when you're too young and inexperienced, you'll struggle until you get the lessons. And sometimes you get dropped. I mean, you must have been dropped in your career in sport. You get dropped. You get dropped because you're not ready to be in that place, and you have to learn to get into that place.
Yeah, I actually remember that. I wanted to. Actually, the reasoning is, and this is going to sound so stupid. In our school, when you're in first team, you got this big puffer jacket to show that you were first team. And it went to that thing. I looked at it and I was like, that must be the best.
That was the only reason you wanted to play first team.
Yeah, 100%. I wanted to have the jacket.
Because you use a friggin' heater in some. I can imagine. That was incentive for you to maybe I should do that for social media. I promise you I'll give you a big puffer jacket, you'll get more leads.
1,000% easily. Not a problem.
Do you want to have the jacket or do you want to do the leads? Because if you do the leads, I'll give you the jacket.
That's a good way to actually do it. Dangle the jacket in front.